Welcome to another episode of Uber Ride to Riches. I'm your host, Dean the Wealth Coach, your go-to guy for building wealth. This is an ongoing series that I started a few days ago because I'm always in the car. So I said, why not just use the environment that I'm in to host a podcast? Or not a podcast, but host a video. On today's episode, there's a few things I want to talk about. And I heard this from Wall Street Trapper. I heard it a few days ago, and then I also heard it on his episode from Trapping Tuesdays. And he said, not all money's for you. And in my head, I was like, what does he mean by that? But as he started to speak more about it, it started to make sense. Chasing money is one of the worst things that you can do. And chasing money is like, for me, chasing girls. When you chase the opposite sex, they run away from you. You seem desperate. They're like, I don't really want to talk to that person. Money acts the exact same way. When you chase it, it repels itself from you. It's like, oh, stay away from me. And that's how he treats the stock market. Not just the stock market, any business that you do. When you chase after money, it runs away from you. For example, you're watching the stock market, you're seeing everybody make money in the certain stocks, even crypto. You're like, yeah, everyone's making money. FOMO. You get FOMO and you buy stuff when it's at its peak. There's a sheet that you can look online. It's called the Wall Street Cheat Sheet. I got introduced to this years ago, and it just shows you the emotions people go through the cycle of the stock market. And this is something you can apply to anything, like even in just your life. When you go based off of emotions, you make the wrong decisions. When you go based off of logics, you tend to usually make the better decision, because there's numbers behind it. There's proof. Now, with that being said, I caught myself doing that the other day, where I got into a trade, and I was like, why am I getting into this trade? I'm going against everything that I said were my principles. And I had to catch myself and be like, no, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. And going back to what I was saying about Wall Street Trapper, not every trade, or not, this money isn't your money. Not every trade is yours. And I just want to share that with you guys. You can be in a desperate situation where you need money, but not all money is made for you. And you got to be able to stomach that. Your opportunity will come. You just got to be ready and prepared for it. Another thing that I want to talk about is sometimes you have days where you just don't feel like doing anything, or you get caught in the moment of doing something and end up doing nothing. And what I mean by that is you have a plan in place for you to do something, and you don't end up executing it. You're doing everything but that plan you said you're going to do. When you first get that hype, that energy to do something, that's probably the best time for you to execute. And see if it is something for you. Don't wait until it's too late. For example, you have an idea in your head, and you're like, yeah, that's going to be so amazing. And then you don't end up executing on it. And then you see somebody else doing it, and then you get upset because you didn't execute on that plan. I say to myself, if you have an idea, execute on it, because if you don't, it's going to go into the sky, into the clouds, and somebody's going to reach for it and say, oh, this is a nice idea, and they're going to execute it. It's that energy. I feel like it's that energy you put out there. It's like you create something, you create it in your mind, because something, when you want something, it's created. You can, how do I say this? things are created twice. Once in your mind, and then in reality. I also think if you don't create it, somebody else will. Because you put that thought out there. And it becomes a cloud, and now it's just up for grabs. It's like, hey, let me grab this idea and execute it. And I've seen that several times in the last 24 hours. I was like, I thought of that, but why didn't I execute it? And the reason why I didn't execute it, because I didn't believe in myself. Imagine how many times you have been through something and you didn't execute on it. It's because you didn't believe in yourself. And that's a problem, because you're going to continuously become upset with yourself because you didn't execute on that idea, that plan that you had. I have to remind myself, what's the worst that could happen if I execute this? And not in a negative aspect, in the positive. Because whatever it is that you think, that's what you attract. So if I think all my ideas suck and they're not going to work, they're going to fail, 9 times out of 10, they are going to fail. Maybe 10 times out of 10. Because one, either I don't execute on it, or two, because I put all that negative energy into this idea, it fails. But now I say, what's the worst that could happen if this actually works? Have you ever thought like that before? It's like, if this works, imagine how great this will be. And using that momentum to just keep going to see where this goes. So the next time you get stuck, or you have an idea, execute right away and see where it leads you. And just be positive about it. Don't think of all the things that could go wrong. Think of all the things that could go right. Everything has problems. Everything's a cycle. Everything goes up, everything goes down. Just be what's the word? Not mindful, but just be... What's going on with this cop car over here? Did they close this? Oh man, or is this an accident? Just give yourself permission to fail. It's okay. Things happen. And just be okay with the process of growing, in a sense. But confidence comes from the practice of executing and completing things. So the more you complete things, the more confident you'll be. The more you try things, the more confidence you'll build up in yourself. So it's okay to make mistakes, fail, because failure leads to success. There's never been a time where someone has been just successful from the day they're born to the day they die. It doesn't work that way. You got to start somewhere, and somewhere failure comes with starting. So I really want to know what that word is that I'm trying to think of in my head. It's just not coming out. For me, it's these videos. It's coming on camera every day, speaking, and just trying to find my rhythm. And it's like, once I find my rhythm, just stick to it and just keep going. First time I started DJing, I didn't know jack shit about DJing, but it was something so fascinating to me that I just wanted to learn it. And over time I got better because I practiced, and the skills just got better and better. Also, I was reading a book, and this guy, he thinks like me, but he actually executes, and he continues to execute. And he said, so like, the story that he just painted, I was like, damn, this is me. I see something. The only problem is he doesn't have shiny object syndrome. I have shiny object syndrome, and I'm trying to overcome that. Slowly but surely, it will happen. But in his story, he's like, he's seen this opportunity, and he's like, man, I'm gonna get this opportunity. There was a line in the book, I can't remember, but I read it just before bed. But it made a lot of sense. And in my own interpretation is, you are the answer to all your problems. You don't have to search high and low for it. Just search within. The more you search, the harder it is to find that answer. Because the answer has always been inside you. You just need to start believing in yourself. You need to just start executing. Make mistakes. It's okay. Because with the mistakes, it's going to say, this is one way not to do things. And with that being said, I am creating a community of like-minded individuals looking to build wealth. And that's the Wealth Builders community. So I left the link down in the description below for you to join. It's only $7 a month. $7, that's how much you pay for Netflix. Now, with me bringing up Netflix, I want to talk about something called the 80-20 rule, or the 80-20 framework. You may have heard it in business, relationships. They say 20% of your effort gives you 80% of your results. I heard it in a different way, where your time, where you figure out what things are worth in time. This is from Sam Ovens. He says, things that are a waste of time cost you money. So let's say drinking alcohol. That costs you $100 an hour because of the effects it has. First, spending the money on the alcohol. Then the second is the hangover from drinking the alcohol. And then the third, it throws off your whole mood week, because the hangover kind of lingers after, and you're kind of just like sluggish after that. Then you have activities that don't really not put money in your pocket, but don't really have a cost associated with it. It's like watching TV, Netflix. It's not producing any income for your life. Now, I'm not saying you have to be making money all the time, but if you're not in the best space of life, why bother watching Netflix? Can you really afford to be watching Netflix? If you know you got a bill due tomorrow, why aren't you out there trying to make money to pay that bill? And you're just at home watching Netflix. Does that really make sense to you? You should be out there grinding. So that's the 80-20 framework. And I'm working on creating that framework, or recreating it, because I liked it. And listing out all the activities that you do. So now imagine, or not imagine, but how it works is write down everything that you do in 7 days. 7 days may seem a lot to write down, but it helps, because then it really shows you what you do with your time. And just every hour, just write what you did or what you're going to do. And just categorize it. Is this a negative $100 an hour thing? Is it a $0 an hour? Is it a $10 an hour? Is it $100, $1,000, $10,000? Just to really reflect on what you do with your time, to see if you're wasting time or making value of your time. So I encourage you to do that. Try it out. See how it goes for you. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap up this video for today, and thank you for all my new subscribers and the people that are commenting, telling me how they like my videos. I really appreciate you guys. And if this is your first time here, make sure to hit the subscribe button to keep up to date when I release a new video. And I'm gonna be doing some major things in the next few days, so make sure you tune in to get exclusive access to this information, and I'll see you on the next video.